in Edmonton, right now, Constable Shiva Shanmungam is warning Edmontonians to remain vigilant in the wake of a trend of thefts, where groups of individuals approach people in parking lots, gas stations, or at the roadside and use various tactics to distract them in order to steal jewelry or scam them. What do we make of this story, Alberta boys?
Well, you mentioned Edmonton. Edmonton's turned into a weird cesspool in the last decade, and I'm not mincing words here, but Edmonton is the city that there was a video that came out of Edmonton like 2 weeks ago of exactly what he described. It was a Mercedes-Benz SUV with Ontario license plates, and they ran into the store and they literally filled like 4 grocery carts full of groceries.
I
And
remember
somebody
it.
in the parking lot was videotaping them as they were stuffing the groceries in the car, and they were speaking whatever language they're speaking among themselves and laughing, and they couldn't care less that the film was rolling. So it's a problem. It's a problem in a lot of places in Alberta, but it's a real problem in Edmonton. And but it's a general problem in the country that some of the that police are not doing their jobs. I mean, you guys had something, Ontario. What did the police chief in Ontario say? Leave your car fobs at the door so that it's easier for the people the thieves to steal. Like we're going too far here. I mean, they're trying to convince us that it's just property and it can be replaced. Well, people are losing faith in the police is what's happening, and that's my first take on it.
Derek Fildebrandt, could this be explained as some sort of weird cultural divide where new people in Canada just don't know that you're not allowed to do this? Or do you think that there is something deeper going on?
There are obviously cultural differences when people get here, particularly if they're from a particularly different culture. They're not coming from Norway or something where we have very similar social norms. But I think there's 4 major things, and it's not just Edmonton. It's also Calgary, and I think this is plaguing cities across Canada.
Sure.
It's maybe more acute in Edmonton than Calgary, but it's right on our shores here too. We're seeing this kind of thing. I think there's 4 major things: drugs, primarily fentanyl, but the drug crisis, which is totally out of hand; mass migration, which has brought in far too many people who do not share our social norms, who have been brought in numbers that cannot be assimilated and adapted to the way we do things and our culture. A feckless and gormless police forces, which are afraid to do their jobs or told not to do their jobs, and a disarmed and weak public. There is now very little threat when you commit a crime against someone that they are going to do something to wreck your day back. There used to be a time where, and I don't want to preempt other segments that I know we're going to get to, but there used to be a time where if you committed a crime against someone in front of that person, there was a good chance you were going to have your day wrecked, maybe your life. That is no longer a major deterrent anymore on the streets. The police do not provide that deterrent, and then mixed together with the fentanyl and broader drug crisis and unrestricted mass migration, of course this is happening. None of us can sit here and pretend to be surprised.
Can I add one more? Great.
Sure.
I like your list, Derek. You got 4 great points. I'll add one more. There is a real component of Canadians being affected by bad policies and being poor. Literally, like, people are stealing. So that's maybe the 5th one. Some people are actually becoming desperate, and businesses are noticing it, right? The people are just casually stealing groceries and gasoline and things like that because they're literally hurting. So for some people, it's gotten so bad in this country under the recent policies that they're resorting to breaking the law and stealing. So I think that's the 5th one that I would add.
I think in the case at hand here, I don't think that's the motivator.
No.
I think there's certain things you take for granted. Like, fish don't really know they're in water. It's so natural to them. We don't pay attention to the wallpaper. It's around us all the time. We are a high trust society. We're the kind of place that has a food bank that literally gives food for free, and each of us trusts the other, not just to go there for free groceries, but to let the truly needy. But I don't know if you know this, but across Canada, different food banks now have policies where they do not allow foreign international students on a student visa to Canada to go to these food banks for their first year in Canada, because they thought, these suckers, these stupid Canadians, they'll literally give you food for free. Why shop for it? Go to the food banks. And it's a cultural difference. People who come from a low trust society, I remember one of the phrases in Iraq when they were talking about, me versus my brother, me and my brother versus my cousin, me, my brother, and my cousin versus the other clan. It's a tragedy of the commons. It's, if you don't take advantage of the other guy, he'll take advantage of you. That is perhaps what Western society was like thousands of years ago, but over the centuries, we built up trust. And you know what? In certain ways, it goes far worse than shoplifting. There has been a spate of rapes and sexual assaults amongst cab drivers of Syrian background in Halifax. And I'll tell you why. It's so obvious why. In our Western culture, if a woman stumbles out of a bar drunk at 1 a.m. and gets into a taxi, the high trust society, the male taxi driver, takes on sort of a paternalistic, I've got to take care of this girl and get her home safely. But if you come from a low trust society, you think, oh my God, there's a barely dressed woman, drunk and vulnerable, in my back seat. No one's here to look. And she obviously, doesn't have a husband or brother to take, or father to take care of her. I'm going to have at her. And there's a string of rapes. And it's every single time it's a cab driver from a low trust society. And in those low trust societies, there's a reason why women have to wear the full burqa and can't go out without a male guardian. It's for their own safety, because this will happen to them. So if you bring people en masse from true rape cultures, why are you surprised that that's happening here? Now, I talked about rape, but that is part of the low trust society.
Yeah, well, when I was a younger adult in northern Alberta, I didn't leave the keys and the fob to my truck by the door. The keys and the fob to my truck were actually in the truck. Yeah. Like I could leave my truck in the front of the house unlocked. And if I came out in the morning and my truck wasn't there, I didn't panic. I just knew that one of my neighbors probably came and borrowed my truck to go do something with it. But you're right. Now somebody would just go walk around and go, oh, wow, a truck with keys in it. We are a high trust. We're such a high trust society that we're considered suckers by many. I mean, some people who come here view us as just suckers.
Well, and I just wanted to mention the cab driver story out of Halifax. This doesn't just apply to rape. I can tell you that in the last 5 years, I haven't been in a taxi or rideshare by myself where I haven't been propositioned. Like, it happens all the time. Every single time I get in a taxi or rideshare, I can expect that there's going to be an offer made, made. And so this isn't contained to Halifax. This is happening to Canadian women every single day. And I think that it's time we start talking about the men that are making the props. Because listen, when I'm getting in an Uber or coming home from brunch in an Uber, that is absolutely why I'm not in the Uber. You know what I mean? All of these services are being added on top of the Uber experience. So anyway, something to think about as Canadians.